welcome to a special edition of My Travel Money TV. Today we're delighted to welcome Simon England, Head of Commercial and Operations at FairFX. Now, FairFX are the UK's leading online currency and foreign exchange specialists, and we're delighted to welcome Simon to talk to him about where the best places are to take your pound further in 2014.
Thank you.
So Simon, it's great to have you. What can you tell us about the maybe cheaper locations there are in 2014, where the best places to go for your to get the most out of your currency?
Certainly. I mean, what we're looking at is where the pound has got stronger against all these different currencies around the world. So there's two real categories to look at. There's winter sun and there's skiing. So this time of year, obviously, people are thinking, where am I going to go off to my skiing locations, which is nice. So you've got places as far flung as Japan, because the Japanese yen's got a bit weaker against the pound. It's around about 18% better off than you were last year.
Oh wow.
So, you know, literally for every £100 you've got an extra £18 to spend. So quite nice to think that you can just probably go out and have a meal free that you might not have had the year before. Bit nearer to home, you've got Norway. It's about 11% up higher than last year. Russia, in between Norway and Japan. And then if you're going over to the west, the Canadian dollar, that's actually still 9% better than it was last year. So the great thing is obviously when you're going on to some of these places and not just skiing, but you can be buying all sorts of bits and pieces as well. And then if like me, you're after some sun, there's all sorts of places at the moment offering some great value. So Argentina, 28% better than last year. Yeah, so that's a lot more pesos for your pound. South Africa, a lot of people go there this time of year because you've got great safaris, all that sort of stuff, 21% better. So, you know, it's a real impact.
Wow, brilliant. And I guess, like you were saying just now, that you want to go sort of pick up bits and souvenirs when you go to these places. How do you recommend that holidaymakers pay for these things? How do they carry it there?
I guess it's really, I mean, if you're going into shops that you can use a debit card, it's always best to have an electronic form of payment, purely because it means that you're not carrying as much cash around the streets. So if you're going to places like, you know, it could be Russia, you know, you don't really want to have a big amount of cash in your wallet, because of course once it's gone, it's gone. So things like debit cards, prepaid cards, great idea, because obviously you know how much you're spending then and you're giving yourself a budget. But if you do need cash, you know, there's no problem with using cash, but try and restrict the amount of cash that you actually take out and about. And certainly if you're in the bazaars and all that sort of stuff, be mindful not to be letting everyone know quite how much you've got in your pocket.
Yeah. How do you think people should avoid getting ripped off when they go to the bazaars and souks in Morocco?
I think it's treat it like a game. You've got to have fun. They know that you're coming to spend money. So, you know, market stalls are there to give you a product, and you're there to go and buy. So you've already established the fact that you've got two roles to play. So as long as you're not afraid to actually go in and you know, it's not like this country where there's a price and generally that's the price you pay. Have fun with it, and they'll appreciate it as well, because it's part of the way of life, especially as you mentioned places like Morocco, Tunisia. So go in, be bold, haggle. The worst thing is that you'll end up paying what you thought you were going to pay for in the first place. The best thing is you can walk away and tell everyone when you get home that you saved yourself 50 quid.
Yeah. And when you go to these places, there's often sort of stands and signs advertising 0% commission. Is this true? Is this something people should buy into? Was it
0% commission is right up there with, you know, up to on broadband speeds for a bit of a con. Because of course commission is one thing and the exchange rate is another, and they're two very distinct things. In the old days, when you were converting cash or even traveller's checks, you paid commission on top of the exchange rate, because it was a way for banks, building societies and the post office to make even more money. Somebody in the marketing guys said, you know what, let's get rid of the commission, and everyone went, well, hey, we're getting a better deal. But of course, if the exchange rate that they're using isn't near to what the exchange rate should be, you'll probably end up paying more than you would if you were actually paying commission. Because of course with commission they'll advertise 2%, so you know that if you're changing £100 you're paying £2. But if they use the exchange rate so that they can widen what we call the spread, you could be 4, 6, 8, 10, 12% out, and you wouldn't know, but you think, oh, I'm getting zero commission, so I'm getting a good deal.
So it's best not to find.
It's you know, it's about being aware. No one expects everybody to be an expert in the city and an expert in exchange rates, but this day and age, when we've all got our mobile phones, we've all got our tablets, there's free apps that you can have which will tell you what we call the base exchange rate is. That's the exchange rate that the banks trade with each other. So the nearer to that you're getting, the better deal that you're getting. And it's very easy to work out what the exchange rates are, because you just divide one by the other and it will give you a percentage.
Brilliant, thank you. And where do you think is the best place to exchange your currency when you go abroad?
It's a question of being prepared, doing it as early as possible generally. So either ordering, if you can go for cash, there's plenty of places to order online. You can have it delivered securely to your home, generally next day, which is great. Prepaid cards, again, it's kind of revolutionised the industry because it means that you're still getting the best exchange rates, but you've got that familiar chip and pin security that you like. And it also means that wherever you go, so let's say for example if you're going on a lovely round the world trip, and you haven't got to think, oh, I need Australian dollars, I need Singapore dollars, I need Hong Kong dollars. You can take one card that you can use all these different countries, and you get the same great rate everywhere. Yeah. Failing that, you can still use your bank card if you must, but be aware that convenience comes at a cost. So whatever you think that is the convenient way, you will end up paying for.
Do you think there's any place when you go abroad that it's actually you're better off paying with a debit or credit card? Or should you just avoid it?
Well, no, you can. I mean, ultimately, it is a convenient way to do it. And obviously, with credit cards, you will get some sort of purchase protection. So if you are going to, say, America and you want to buy, I don't know, an iPad or a MacBook or something like that, then there is an element to say, well, actually, you might pay more, but you might benefit from that protection of having credit card protection. Personally, I think, this day and age, with the goods that you're going to be buying, it's not really that much of an issue. You really want to look at what the best, lowest value cost to you is going to be. And that's always going to be pre-ordered cash or a prepaid card.
Brilliant, thank you. And is there a worst place to buy your currency?
At the airport.
Yeah.
Quite simply. It doesn't matter whether you're taking off or whether you're landing. They know they've got a captive market. So, of course, the exchange rates there can be up to, well, we've seen 18 to 20% at some of the regional airports. So, of course, that means for every £100 you want to change, it's going to cost you £20. And it's only when you actually put it in monetary values that people suddenly realise, I'm giving away money for nothing here. Like I said, with the cash online, you're looking at maybe 1 or 2%. So there's that much difference. And of course, also be aware that it will happen when you land. Everything's advertised in their local currency and you think, brilliant, that's all right. I'll just walk up to the hole in the wall, take my money out, and of course I'm just getting what I should be. But the bank, both ends will probably take you for a little bit of money.
Yeah. And I guess that works something when you go abroad, you can often, when you pay with a card, you have the option to pay in pounds sterling or with a local currency. Yep. What should people do?
Never take the local currency. It's something that they call dynamic currency conversion. It was brought to market by a hotel chain about 15, 20 years ago. Of course, it's great because you think, wow, this is really convenient, I'm paying in the local currency. But what generally tends to happen is two things. First of all, they convert your currency to their currency, and they'll put in, again, what we call a spread. So they'll probably put 5, 6, 7% in there. And then, because you're paying with your debit card in a different currency, it's going to be happening at the other end as well. So you've just got to be really careful to make sure that you understand what the cost is advertised and what you're paying, because generally they're going to be this far apart. So it's always best to say, no, I'm happy to pay in your currency, and then you know what your exchange rate is either on your prepaid card or on your debit card or even with your cash.
Great. Thank you. And we've just, I think, got one last question. Lots of people are going to Rio and Brazil for the World Cup this year. Is there anything they should watch out for with their currency, or if it's best to take a prepaid currency card perhaps, or currency, or how they should carry it around there?
It's a combination. Again, Brazil is a country where unfortunately credit card fraud is very high. So I would be very wary about using your bank attached debit card or your credit cards, because of course once it's been exposed they can clear you out very quickly. That said, cash, again, it's not always that safe on the streets out there. They know there's going to be millions of people there ripe for the picking, so you don't want to have too much. So a combination of small amount of cash. A prepaid card is great, again, because of course if it's stolen, well then you block it anyway and you're going to get your funds back, and you're not worried about someone having your details that's attached to your bank back at home. Brazil has just entered what's called the PIN waiver scheme. So the great thing is up until last year you had no protection if your credit card was used over there. It's now part of the global scheme, so you will have, as long as it's a chip and pin protected card, you have some form of protection, and that's the same for prepaid cards as well.
That's great, thank you. The very last question, how do you personally exchange your currency?
I'm a big fan of doing sort of a mix, so I'll generally order some cash, but then I never want to order too much cash in case I spend it all, so I'll have a prepaid card as well, so that way when I come home, if I've not spent it all, I just save it for the next trip.
Great. Thank you so much, Simon. It's been great to have you. And thank you very much for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to follow us on @MyTravelMoney.UK on Twitter, or email me at sophia@mytravelmoney.co.uk if you have any questions. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.